language models, they have actually a lot of breaks, and it has implications. For example, in many domains. Because, for example, the bias, how to avoid bias when doing learning of the model, I give the example of autonomous cars and robotics, where if there are wrong decisions, it can have a very bad repercussion. So, for example, I take the example of reinforcement learning when it's very used in robotics. So that means if do you envision like shifting in concepts in large language models to avoid those problems and try to be more more secure in the future. Thank you.
Maybe I can give a partial answer. Just at the beginning, autonomous car in the early system, the car was very precautious. So when the car was arriving at a roundabout, if another car was there, the car would not move. And then I think maybe it's Eric said that it's AI or LM. It's also an interaction, and here it's the same. What was not taken into account sufficiently is how the other car behave, and that if you want the car, autonomous car, to go in the roundabout and to be in the traffic, the car has to be not too precautious and has to be a bit unpolite. Because the car has to force a little bit its passage, otherwise the car will never go into the roundabout if there are other cars. And this is also, I think it only partially answers your question, but you cannot only think the system in absence of its usage, in absence of the interaction with who is going to use the system. So you need to have this interaction, and you need to have this usage. So I don't know if I only partially answer your answer, but it's just a forward.
I think any invention of new technology adoption is like giving birth to children. There are some discomfort. It's a rewarding price to pay, for the advancement. That's usually how I see, my work. It's not going to be totally safe at the beginning, but as long as there is a constraint or maybe a pressure, that forms the feedback loop, to make your system better, but also taking some steps to experiment and take some risk.
I guess all the members of the panel here today advocated for the future of AI to be open source. So what would be some laws that you will suggest?
You mean suggest to make everything open source, or?
No, you suggested that the future of AI should be open source. So in that context, what would be some laws that you will suggest to safeguard against any mishaps?
Okay. Should I give it a shot? Yeah. Well, first, if you look at, for instance, the AI Act in Europe, which is making good progress, it's not about the technology so much as it is about the risks to what is defined as the European citizen, because they have a Bill of Rights, right? So you can do whatever almost on the technology side. It's what you're going to do with the technology that is being regulated. And that applies as much to the proprietary side than to the open source side. There's no reason why it should be differentiated. Of course, you have better ways to enforce on commercial operations, and open source could potentially be in the hands of entities or individuals who are hard to sanction, right? Because maybe you would never catch them in the open source. So that's the first aspect of my comment. The other aspect is I really believe there's a strong self-regulating nature to open source community, and I tend to trust that more than the commercial side. I don't know.
I want to add also that, I think the risk of AI, including the open source part, has somewhat been exaggerated at this point. Remember one thing, AI, in terms of its realization, is a piece of software. Okay, it's a piece of software. It's very different from, say, you invent a chemical compound, you build a nuclear bomb, or you genetically modify a species and make them into the crop. These are actually already innovations that is in our society. It's in the physical world, and we've come up with a long way to find out how to regulate them. And so far, they've been safe, I would say, by and large. And this AI, products, which is a software, actually has more checkpoints than those other products in the physical world, because once they want to make a real harm, they have to realize that through agency. For example, they may, just like the internet, tell you a formula of building a nuclear bomb. Well, you need to get the materials. And if they give you a misinformation so that you vote, well, you need to vote. So it's actually, an indirect way of influencing human society in many ways. I'm not saying that they don't have a harm, but they also provide you extra layer of checkpoints. So I don't think, the widespread adoption of AI is going to get people into a excessive extra layer of risk. Our current regulational practice and the system is actually doing a pretty good job in preventing material risk and also physical risk. I think, I would trust the current practice already, which stops many of the harm behavior and action in their last stage. I think what people are asking for is to even go further, into, the digital world, or in the cyber security or the cyber world, which has been already, a long practiced kind of activity of the society. And the AI isn't really, I would say, challenging, our current practice, in a completely unimaginable and uncontrollable way. That's kind of my gut feeling. I think right now many of the discussions are not substantiated by a true evidence, or a true harm that we can actually measure. Say how many deaths because of AI, and how many, how much economic loss due to AI. I haven't seen such numbers yet. I think we should probably give some patience and see, are we really going to have those numbers? Or it's like the internet. People talk about it, and then after a few years, they go away naturally.
Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, dear audience, for the interest in debate. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to tackle the third subtopic. So we're going to conclude. We're going to conclude our roundtable by the journey through Arabic language models, and generative AI has revealed a landscape of incredible possibilities and for sure present challenges. So thanks to our panelists, to our participants, and to the Winter School for this insightful discussion. May our reflections today contribute to a future where AI benefits all while upholding privacy, security, and ethics values. Thank you for coming.